pod people, coming at you with a brand new vid. Today I'm gonna do something a little different. So I got some fruit fries all ready to roll here. I'm gonna toss some fruit flies in here with a Leucomelis and let them chow down in the background while we're talking. You guys can kind of watch them do their thing. While we're talking. I think I might go grab a lid to put on the rest of these. We'll save the rest for later. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about biodegradables. So biodegradables or botanicals, things of that nature. That's going to include from leaf litter all the way up to wood pieces. Basically anything organic that can break down, whether it be in an isopod culture or dart frog enclosure, gecko enclosure, so on and so forth. And that's things like, you know, the trumpet seed pod. Here's a Mayan seed pod, a tri seed pod, monkey pod, bell cup. These are all botanical type things, as well as different leaf litters and stuff like that, like I say, and woods. So something that I've had questions about multiple times, so I wanted to go ahead and address that. So botanicals, anything biodegradable. These are all items that are preserved, dried and preserved, most often just barely cleaned up, dried, wherever they come from, and I get them and then I ship them out to you. So with biodegradables, basically everything, you know, like this, it was dried in a state of naturalness, and so it still has sugars and starches within, you know, locked in there, dried in there. So basically, when you take that dried thing, whether it be leaf litter, you know, botanical type stuff, woods, you take that dried stuff that still has starches, tannins, things of that nature, basically nutrition that is still in that item. You take those things and you put them in a humid environment like this, where it now kind of wakes up and moisturizes all those sugars and starches. And basically what happens is it unlocks that nutrition, and it allows for things like mold to take over. So oftentimes you will see mold on some of these items when you first put it in your enclosure, you know, potentially within a few days. But the thing with the mold is, one thing, isopods and springtails will eat some of those molds and help that out and kind of keep it at bay a little bit. But some of them, I mean, I've had a bell cup like this get like so covered in mold, hairy, nasty white mold, that it was unrecognizable. But a week later, 2 weeks later, you could never tell. So basically, it's basically, for all you fish people out there and coral reefers, it's like cycling an aquarium. When you cycle an aquarium, you have beneficial bacteria that has to build up in order to take care of the nitrogen cycle. Same goes here. So basically you have to build up bacterias and springtails and isopod cultures and your microfauna basically to take care of the mold problems. And the mold itself, all it's doing is doing what mold does and live off of nutrition. So as long as there's nutrition in that particular item, I mean, like a monkey pod, there's a lot of nutrition and beneficial starches and whatnot that's still living inside this once you wake it up with all that moisture and humidity. So all that stuff just starts molding, and basically the mold is only going to live off of the amount of nutrition that is on that item. So like I say, you know, springtails, isopods, things of that nature will kind of help a little bit, but it kind of has to do its thing. I mean, everything has to cycle, including, you know, terrariums, vivariums, however you want to put it. But yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. So, you know, if you get some of these items and they start to mold, don't throw them out. It's just part of the cycle. You know, within a couple of weeks, you'll see that mold dissipate as it's basically eaten up what it's going to be eating, you know, and it will eventually subside and go down, and it'll look a lot more naturalized after that. And then all the bacteria will kind of start taking hold and doing what they do and feeding off of it as well. And it'll look like a pretty sweet, naturalized looking enclosure after a few weeks. I would say, just like a fish tank, it's like a 4 to 6 week cycle where it takes, you know, for all that microfauna to take hold and populate enough in order to handle the bio load, you know, what's going on in the tank. So be patient. All that stuff will subside. Let the mold eat what it's going to eat, basically, and leave it in there. If you have any other questions about that, definitely drop it in the comment section below. All right, we're coming to the end of the video, so I'd like to thank our brand new Patreon supporter, Richard Font. Thanks for your support. And if you guys are interested in being a Patreon supporter, make sure you're checking us out on Patreon. And don't forget, for only $1 a month, and the tiers kind of go up from there, you can be a Patreon supporter and help us out on what we're doing over here. It helps out with video content stuff. It helps out with feeding the animals around here. They eat a lot of food. If that's something you're interested in, check it out. Thanks to you, you get to see sneak peeks of video content for anybody else. You get to know about sales on the website before anybody else, as well as I like to drop, you know, funny little pictures and stuff like that nobody else gets to see on the Patreon page. So that's kind of cool. So if that's something you're interested in, check it out. You can kind of check out the different tiers and see what kind of swag that you get with each tier. And I also like to say at this time, make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, Teespring if you're interested in merch designs. We'll see you next time, folks. Patreon supporters, take us out. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye.